First theory is concerning the rather infamous disappearance of Lars Mittank. Before getting to know about this theory, I want to present the facts about this case as it is.
On June 30, 2014, 28-year-old Lars Mittank traveled to the seaside resort of Golden Sands, Bulgaria on a vacation with a group of friends. On July 6, 2014, Mittank got into a fight with 4 other men after a disagreement over football. Mittank, a fan of the football club Werder Bremen, had differences with fans of Bayern Munich. The fight resulted in Mittank suffering a ruptured eardrum. At the end of his trip, a doctor advised Lars not to fly due to his injury, and prescribed the antibiotic cefuroxime. That doctor later referred him to a hospital. Mittank's friends wanted to stay with him, but he insisted he was fine on his own. Mittank stayed in Bulgaria without his friends, and checked into the Hotel Color Varna. However, a day after his friends left, Mittank began to act oddly, and his erratic behavior was recorded by the hotel's closed-circuit television security cameras. He spent only one night in the hotel, during which he appeared paranoid and frightened. While at the hotel, Mittank called his mother. In a whisper, he stated that 4 men were coming to kill him, and that she should cancel his credit cards. Mittank was last seen at Varna Airport, the airport that serves Golden Sands in the nearby city of Varna. He was consulting with the airport doctor when they were interrupted by a man who was a part of a construction crew. He then fled the building. He was captured by airport security cameras running away. Once outside the airport, he was seen climbing a fence, running into a meadow, and disappearing into an adjacent field of sunflowers near Bulgarian National Highway A2. He has not been seen since.
So there are obviously many theories concerning this case. I too imagine some scenario of my own, where the doctor might have fucked up with medicines which would explain his weird behavior, and whatever happened to him later could have been something related to human trafficking or something. But the theory we are looking at it right now is something else entirely. And I just want to say it's just a theory, just a case of imagination running wild. It may come off as offensive to people involved, but it's just people trying to spice things up for their own entertainment, as everyone does.
Most people attribute Lars' behavior and disappearance to a ruptured ear canal he suffered on the trip, and many think he had a traumatic brain injury. He was also prescribed antibiotics by a doctor for the rupture, and it is speculated he may have experienced some type of side effect that caused him to fall into a paranoid state. I don't buy either of these theories and believe it is far more likely he was a drug mule, except it has been stated, though not confirmed, his suitcase was searched after his disappearance and no drugs were found, which would put a significant dent in this theory. Instead of Lars himself running the drugs, I believe it is far more likely his friends who flew back without him were the ones who had ran drugs back to Germany, and he stayed behind as some sort of insurance. I believe this theory for a few reasons, the primary one being that he ran out of the airport after an airport security official interrupted his medical examination by the airport doctor to speak with the doctor about an unrelated matter. Lars may have thought his friends had gotten caught and he was about to be arrested, hence why he ran out of the airport without his luggage or cell phone and hopped a fence. I also find his friend's explanation that he experienced a ruptured ear canal after a bar fight and he was acting strange to be implausible, because why would they leave a friend alone in a foreign country who they believed was acting strange and claimed had disappeared for an entire night during the trip? It just doesn't pass the common sense test. This story of him acting bizarre due to a ruptured ear canal and then seeing a doctor who they claim said he might have to stay in the country for 30 days is too far-fetched. As others have pointed out, there is very minor surgery by an aunt that could have been performed pretty easily and allowed him to fly back immediately. Why would he choose to instead stay in a foreign country alone for an undetermined period of days? After his friends flew back, he reportedly checked into a seedy, cheap hotel, the kind of place a man involved in a drug-running operation might stay or be kept at until he is let go.
A very interesting theory is all I am gonna say about this. Lars was 28 and could make decisions of his own, moreover he wasn't suffering from a life-threatening injury, so leaving him behind isn't that suspicious of a choice. Although if I would have to say something to contribute to it, I would say that while he was supposedly paranoid, he called his mom and not his friends.
A lot of comments bringing up the Fermi paradox to explain the lack of evidence of extraterrestrial life, when by all accounts we should be seeing alien life all over the universe. Here's another, unsettling, explanation. If you're scuba diving above a coral reef, and you know that there should be fish all around you, but you don't see any, it's most likely that they have learned that for some reason it's important not to be seen. And since you're a newcomer to this environment, chances are it's not you they're hiding from.
I think this is called the dark forest theory, which explains the stated Fermi paradox. Fermi paradox basically asks that there should exist 100,000 alien species, so why haven't we seen a single one of them? I remember skimming through a short story, which was based on this, a long time ago. And there is also a science fiction novel about this. The idea that the other alien species exist and they just live low-key to stay out of the radar of a scary, immensely powerful species is quite entertaining, to be honest. Maybe with the right narrative I might even get goosebumps reading such a thing. But if you ask me if I would ever consider this seriously, then there is no way in hell I am going to say yes. 'Cause frankly, if that was the case, Earth would have been destroyed the day we sent out Chuck Berry's Johnny B. Good on a golden disc in space. Anyway, on towards the next theory, which concerns itself with number stations. For those who don't know, a numbers station is a shortwave radio station characterized by broadcasts of formatted numbers, which are believed to be addressed to intelligence offices operating in foreign countries. So here is how the theory goes.
Their purpose is technically a theory, as the groups that broadcast them won't officially confirm even their existence for the most part. Essentially, spying is still a very real thing for most world governments. One of the most foolproof ways of delivering a coded message is through a one-time code, a code used just once before being discarded. Your spy has the key, you have the message, and once the key is used, it is discarded and the next message is sent using a different key. Additionally, shortwave radio is an extremely secure way of sending these messages. It sounds weird that a radio station anyone with a shortwave radio can listen to would be considered secure. But the beauty of the method is that shortwave radios are ubiquitous, cheap technology throughout most of the world. What looks more suspicious? A person traveling with a radio, or a person traveling with a sophisticated computer or satellite phone? While the signal can be received by anyone, it leaves no record of who received it and can't be intercepted and traced by a middleman. They don't care if you listen, because the stream of numbers is nothing without the code, and because you're using a one-time code, it can't be cracked as it's randomly generated and used once. The only time a one-time code has ever been broken was an instance where the code was reused. So your spy just tunes into the radio at a specific time on a specific day, writes down the numbers, decodes the message, discards the key, and no one is any the wiser. Most stations are identified by a call sign or little jingle, and these can range from kind of cute and cheerful to pretty eerie sounding. If you listen infrequently, you'll hear messages repeated over and over until one day they change up. It's believed they'll repeat the message until their spy can communicate they've received it. Essentially, if you have a shortwave radio, you can listen in on highly secret spy communications from countries all over the world. You can also listen in on countries jamming the communication, either by broadcasting state radio on the same signal, or trying to jam it with noise or static. You'd think the frequency of these transmissions would have gone down after the Cold War, but they're still going strong. The very first numbers stations appeared in the very early days of radio, during World War I. I find it fascinating, but also super creepy, that all of this secret communication is happening right out in the open, for us to tune into at any time, without any way of knowing who it is intended for or what is being transmitted.
This just makes me nostalgic about the time I read 1984. I don't know why it's not quite the same as Big Brother is watching you, but I guess just seeing the words world government and spying makes me think about some totally different theories. And while I am on that topic, I am pretty sure most of the people know, but the fictional character, or more of a symbol of the worst form of totalitarian government, was introduced in the book 1984 by George Orwell, writing about what the life would be like in the future with an all-seeing civil state in place. It's a good read, and although some people might find it a bit disturbing, it prompts the reader into a state of in-depth thinking which, in my opinion, is very beneficial for him or her. So back to the numbers station. Talking through radio signals, using a key to decipher the code, is a scene which has been milked hard by movies and web series. So many people have knowledge about them that I can see why it would be easily accepted by many people. The TV show The American shows this perfectly, is a common comment I find here, but I have never actually watched it, so I don't know about that. Most importantly though, the thing is that something like this has become common knowledge nowadays, sir, while a part of me thinks that it is cool that I can tune into top national secrets without actually understanding them. Another part of me thinks anything is possible with new technology and enough time. Even something like cracking codes and this way of conversing becoming such a common knowledge, top secret information wouldn't be risked being sent this way nowadays. Not saying I don't believe that every country has moved on from using number stations, but at least the developed countries should have found a new, better, efficient way of sending messages that we don't know about.